Hi there, my name is Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about the IK Multimedia ToneX 1. Could this be the ultimate all-in-one pedal for acoustic guitar on the market right now? I think you'll be impressed. Let's take a look. So straight away, I'll tell you, every guitarist should have one of these as their backup rig, even their main rig, their mobile amplifier. This can do so much for so many people. But there's a part of the market that is not being talked about right now, and that's the acoustic guitar. And I'll tell you why. Let's go to a close-up. I want to show you all the features quickly that this can do. So like I already said, it's incredibly small and it has one button, but it can do so much. With the acoustic guitar, we really want one bass tone and maybe another tone for lead. The way I would use it, you've got A-B mode on there. So A would be my rhythm kind of strumming sound, and B would be my boosted lead or fingerstyle sound. If you hold that button down, the main button, you get a tuner. It's very fast, it's very accurate. Then you've got your volume knob. Very useful, of course, and bass, mid, and treble. So you've got a 3-band EQ in here, but not just that. You can actually tailor that in the software to your needs. They are not fixed frequencies. So if you want your bass frequency to be set at 150, you can have it set at 150, and obviously the amount which you can also do on the pedal itself then at the gig. If you press the Alt button, you've also got a noise gate, a compressor, and a very high quality reverb. These are usually set to spring reverbs in the software, but there's also a fantastic plate reverb. It's very easy to power it. There's a regular power supply connection there, but also it's got USB-C, and that means you can power it from USB-C. Some PA systems even power pedals that have USB-C. So how amazing would that be? But that also gives the option of using it as a mobile interface. Look at this. This is actually connected to my iPhone right now, and it's powering it. So that makes it incredibly useful for mobile recording and just for powering it in general. Fantastic. You can also connect the output of this to headphones and use it as a headphone amplifier. But here's the big thing for acoustic players. You can load acoustic IRs, and there's even a blend control in there. So just think about what I just said. For under 200 bucks and the size of this thing and the quality of it, just think of the features I just labeled off. Look, this isn't a sales pitch video. This is just giving them the praise they deserve. I'm going to load up the software and show you how to set this up and what it sounds like. Let's take a look. So when you connect the pedal to your computer, this is what the editor looks like. Now there's a few steps to get to this point, which I won't show you today. It'll make the video way too long, but you've got to install all the software, follow the user guide. In fact, do read the user guide, because what I'm going to show you now, the most important step in my opinion, is in the user guide. So do read that a few times. I was really struggling with this software to get everything working how I thought it should do, and there's multiple ways to do things here. So as a quick overview with the pedal connected, Librarian is the pedal. So this is that pedal connected. As you can see on the screen, you've got dual mode, so A and B mode. So A might be your rhythm sound, B might be your louder lead sound with some delay or something like that. And then stomp mode, which is behind my head, that's when you just stomp it on and stomp it off. You might use that as, say, a distortion pedal in front of a real amplifier. You press the button, it turns on. You press the button, it turns off. That's very important to know those things. And then if you see on the top left where it says home, now this is where you edit the sounds. This is where everything lives that you've created or bought. This is the library of sounds. But obviously we want to edit those sounds. This is different to some modeling pedals like the Line 6 Helix, where what you see is what you get. This isn't like that. We edit here and then we load it back into the pedal, back where it says Librarian. But in order to hear what you're doing in real time, there's a few steps you want to take. First of all, click on this menu here below where it says ToneX and turn off direct monitoring. You want to turn that off, especially if you're using the pedal as your interface, which I'll presume you're doing today. Like I said, there's many ways to connect this. Obviously, if you've got an interface, if you haven't, things like that. But turn that off for the time being. Right, now the next most crucial step is on this Librarian screen, you don't want to be in dual mode. You want to be in stomp mode. So you see over here where it's orange and it says stomp mode, click on that so it's highlighted. That's the mode you need to be in, because now if I press on the pedal, I can turn it off and turn it on. You want that to be off because you don't want to hear the sound that's stored in the pedal while you're listening to the sound you're editing in the software. And that was driving me crazy for a while, but that makes total sense, doesn't it? You don't want to hear the model while you're doing the edits, because you'll hear the reverb twice and the delays twice and all the rest of it. It'll drive you crazy. That's all you got to do. Turn off direct monitoring, select either using the pedal, because the pedal has many hardware controls to go into different menus, obviously because there's no screen on it, but with the software, simply click on stomp mode and you're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is, if you come to the left here, it says user folders. So I've created a folder here, add new folder, Aaron. That's me, that's my name. And I'm going to drag in the Super Reverb amp into that folder here on the left. There we go, Aaron. So now Aaron has the Super Reverb -01 clean. I'll use that as a starting point to go from. So now if you go home, that is that preset. And now if we make changes, you'll hear them. I'll give you a demo of that, but quickly, let's walk through at the top here the sounds that you might be using. First of all, and this is in order of signal flow, we have the noise gate. I don't like noise gates. They're really useful for metal and stuff like that, heavy rock. If your acoustic guitar pickup needs a noise gate, you might want to look at other pickups, to be honest with you, but you might need it for whatever reason, like a noisy venue or something. So you can turn it on with the on button there, and you can get rid of that noise. But for me, and what I'm doing today, I would turn it off. Next up, the amp block. Now, we're doing acoustic here. We don't want an amp block, so we'll turn it off. Okay, if you're doing an electric guitar, you want it. The only caveat to that is if you find an amp that you do like the sound of that works with the acoustic guitar, or if you find a capture, because this is where like the captures of the tone models will be. If you find one of a particular preamp or something, or maybe an acoustic amp, you might want to load it there. There are a few on the web, or you might want to make your own. But for me, a great sounding acoustic pickup straight in to the PA sounds great. So I'm going to leave that off. Next up is the cab block. Guess what? We're turning that off as well. Hang on, you're going to say, I've just wasted my money. You're turning everything off. Well, stay with me. We don't want a cab on an acoustic guitar. But there's another option here called custom IR. And this is a very important part of this video. If you click on that, you'll see here, you can add IR and you can load in your own IR. I have made a video on how to make an acoustic IR, and I'm going to put it at the end of this video so you can click on it and watch that as a kind of segue into making your preset. Here's the thing. You don't have to do this. If you love the sound of your acoustic guitar pickup, or you have another IR kind of pedal, don't worry about that. Just leave it off like I showed you earlier. But it was very easy for me to make this IR using Logic and a microphone. Check it out. I'll show you in this video what it sounds like. But this pedal can load IRs for acoustic guitar, and that makes it even more impressive. So hang around for that demo. Now we get into stuff that we will use, time-based effects and compression. Compressor here, I want it on. It's a great compressor because it shows you on this line here when it's kicking in. I love when compressor effects do that because sometimes you don't really know what it's doing. You can see visually here what it's doing. So again, I'll come to that in a second. I'll leave that on. Modulation, they've got chorus, tremolo, phaser, flanger, and rotary. I'm not a big fan of those, but some people are, so you might want to use a chorus or something on your acoustic. I'm going to leave it off because I don't tend to use that effect. Next up, delay, normal and ping pong. Digital or tape. I would use this on my solo preset. The only thing we don't have here is a tap tempo. That's really the only thing this pedal's missing is a tap tempo and a looper. If you had that, you'd be good to go. But I'm going to leave that off for now, but you can use that as an ambient effect or on your lead playing. It's a great sounding delay. And finally, reverb. I will use that. It's currently set to spring, but I'm going to set plate, and I'm going to have a long time and a low mix. I do love that kind of reverb on an acoustic guitar. If you make another setting for slot B, you could have that increased for your soloing. We're not done yet. Here's the final block called advanced. That's an EQ. And the amazing thing with this EQ is you can set it how you want. So obviously the bass gain is the same as using the knob on the pedal, but the frequency, you can set the bass frequency. So you might have an existing pedal with EQ and you like how it's set, so you can just copy that into here. You look in the user guide of the Fishman EQ pedal and copy it in here. Or you might think, you know what? I'm always struggling with around 100, so I'll set that to 100. When you go to the gig, the control on the pedal will be adjusting 100. Then for mid, you have a Q control. I like a really narrow Q to take out 2K. So I could set this to 2K. You can double tap it as well if you want to be more accurate like that. So 2K, I'm going to cut it all out. I don't like the sound of that. A very narrow, it's like a very narrow notch. It's just cutting out 2K, literally. That's it. Also, most of these effects have post and pre. So for acoustic, I'll leave them on post, but it's nice to have that option as well. Then there's a presence control. If you feel you're lacking that presence, you can use that, or if it's too much. So that's like another EQ. This is like a 4-band EQ. And a mix control that actually blends in that IR between no IR and full IR, which is really useful. And I'll show you that as well. So then what I would do is I would save that, going to save it over the top. In fact, why not save it as air and acoustic just to make it clearer? Acoustic rhythm, right? Just so I know what it is. And you could even put the name of the guitar there as well. There's a description box too. And then when you come back to Librarian, you can now drag and drop this into A, overwrite, and there you go. So like I said, you could then go back to home. You could make this louder, add more reverb and some delay, save it as air and lead, come back to Librarian, drag it into B, overwrite. Well, actually one more step. The LEDs make green your rhythm, red your lead. Now on the pedal, when it's green, that's your rhythm sound. When you press it, it's red, it's your lead sound or finger picking sound. When you hold that button down, you get a really accurate tuner. Absolutely brilliant. And once you've set this up, you should be go and not have to touch this software again, unless you want to come in and change those frequencies of the EQ curve and the type of delay and tremolo effects and things like that. But otherwise, you're now good to go. So let me plug in the guitar and show you what this sounds like. Okay, this is my Dowena guitar, and it has the Hi-Fi Duet, which I've set all to pick up right now. And it's coming through. When I'm demoing, I will turn the vocal microphone down, just so you're only hearing the guitar straight into the interface. I would wear headphones for this demo. So I'll come back to home again, because now you can hear. You see what I mean? If I turn the reverb off now, it's gone. If you don't do what I said at the start of the video, you'll still hear reverb, and that will drive you crazy. You can ask me how I know about that. All right, turn it on. I can hear straight away there's way too much. So let me bring this down quite a bit. I'll turn the IR off. I'll turn everything off, actually. I want to show you what it sounds like straight in. I'll play a bit. This is straight in, just using it as a pedal with a volume control. So dry, decent sounding pickup, pretty good for a piezo pickup, right? Let me show you what the IR does. I do have the EQ engaged, by the way, but I'll just leave that for now. If that 2K bugs you, try that. I really like to take that out. I can really hear it, but I won't dwell on that for today's video. That 2K narrow Q that I've done is something that I do on pretty much every guitar these days. Anyway, let me do a blend with the IR off, and I'll bring the mix up so you can hear the difference. So it doesn't sound exactly like the original microphone, but it sounds very mic-like, and it sounds way better than a lot of acoustic IRs that I've heard. Even if you just bring in a little bit of that mix just to take the edge off, it's nice to have. So now I'll put that reverb back on again. Check this out. It sounds really full. It sounds really, really, really nice. So just to show you what I meant about the compressor, as I get louder, you should see an LED come on to show you how much compression is being applied. And then you can also match the gain with and without. So let's just try that. I'll just play and see if I can get that to engage. So you can see that's very subtle, but it is kicking in a very subtle way. Of course, turn those up, turn up the threshold to get more of that. But then turn it off and listen. Turn it on. It's quieter. So compensate with the gain. There we go. So now we have an IR, a custom IR, some compression, a reverb, which is blended in with EQ in this little pedal that is also a tuner. Don't forget, we also have modulation effects like a chorus here. And also a delay effect as well. Okay, so this would be my main gigging strumming preset for most of my gigs. Check it out. I absolutely love that. I feel like it's dramatically improved the tone of the guitar. It's made it much fatter. You could also have multiple presets. You could have a preset where you have more of that IR blended in. You can have presets with delay, and it's just amazing. They fit it all into this little tiny pedal that you can take anywhere and even plug it into your phone. Turn the IR off, take this around with you, just a little bit of reverb on it, and use it to test out guitars at a guitar store plugged into your phone. And remember, on the pedal itself, I'm looking at it right now, there's still physical controls. You've got bass, mid, treble, reverb, effects. First of all, if this helped you, please subscribe and ring the bell. I'll have more videos on this kind of stuff coming soon. I've got more done in the past as well. And then at the end of this video, make sure you click through to learn how to create an acoustic IR. I think this thing can be a huge game changer for acoustic musicians. The only thing I'd like to see in the future from IK, and I've told them this, please let us create IRs using your platform. You let us capture amplifiers. Take your technology and let us capture IRs. Because while most IR capturing at the minute is very good and very mic-like, it's not one-to-one with the microphone in the way I feel the electric amps are. We're not that close with the acoustic IRs. I think they're harder to capture. Also, sometimes they don't capture the sound, obviously, of the pick on the strings. One way you can compensate for that is to go into advanced here and turn up the presence control. That's the one thing I'd love to see in the future from IK, but until that point, we can do what I showed you today, and I think this is incredible. I'll play you out now and look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. If you got something out of it, if you found it useful, please give me a thumbs up, a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I'll bring you more on this stuff in the near future. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.